They said a basic spear and a pack of wolves couldn't stand a chance on this level. They said a primalist needed fancy ward setups and meta uniques. They were wrong. At 591 corruption with only health as a lifeline, this is the raw, relentless force of the spear and wolf build. No safety nets, no fluff, just critical strikes, feral synergy, and a pack of crit-hungry wolves that make bosses rethink their life choices. This is the full build guide, and if you're brave enough, it's only the beginning. Let's talk boss performance, starting with the nastiest one, Aberoth. The fight began with a steady start. Not the biggest opener in history, but decent. We were able to chip away at a solid chunk of his health before the first major slam kicked in. No real trouble during most of the middle stages, just solid and steady. Here I took a pretty decent hit, reducing it to around 600 health, but even then I felt the situation was controlled and easy to manage. Final slam stage now. 5 of my wolves were smashed. I had to quickly dash across the arena to start reviving them, dodging whatever Aberoth threw at me. Fortunately, the build's health sustain, consistent healing totems and potions kept me afloat. It was pretty straightforward to revive them. Things got chaotic, but under control. A classic don't panic, just execute situation. Once Aberoth dipped down to 14% health, Swipe's kill threshold kicked in and finished the job. Clean, efficient, and honestly, pretty satisfying. Here's another boss fight, Raya and his Harbinger. Raya is always very fast to down. For the Harbinger, you always have to keep that distance when he does his worst slams and AoE attacks, but whenever you have the chance to go full on frenzy on him, the DPS is really solid. And that's it for the Harbinger as well. So, if you enjoy watching the big bad bosses get taken down by a pack of angry wolves and a reckless primalist who refuses to die, hit that like and subscribe buttons. But if you're still not convinced, don't worry, the juicy mechanics are just getting started. Alright, let's dive into what makes this build really raw, the attack setup. It's straightforward but packed with some interesting choices that make our wolves hit like a pack of wild storms. When playing, we always want to use Warcry in the middle of enemy packs whenever it's not on cooldown. The same goes for Frenzy Totem. Howl is also something we should use when available, although the wolves proc Howl on kill and hit. Apart from that, we go full on smash and bash mode with Swipe. Let's look deeper into the details of each skill. First up, our wolves. These aren't your average pups, they're the main damage source. We cleverly spread out on the skill tree to snag the +1 maximum wolves and +1 maximum companion node, and the node making us able to summon the wolves up to our companion limit. In combination with our passives and gear, which we'll look at soon, that means we get to summon 6 wolves at once. More wolves, more chaos, more damage. Simple math. We max out the Savage Hunters node to really crank up the damage, and pick up the Legendary Bite node for a juicy boost. More damage, base crit chance, and yeah, a slight trade-off with the reduced attack speed, but trust me, the damage gain is well worth it. Plus, every wolf has a chance to trigger their companion ability Howl when they kill an enemy, and a chance on hits to rares and bosses. Now, here's the kicker, Howl is a beast. It gives both us and our wolves 25% more melee damage and Frenzy on use. We've also pumped up its duration by 50%, so Howl lasts a solid 4.5 seconds per trigger, which stacks up fast with 6 wolves constantly working the battlefield. And when the cooldown's off, we hit it manually to keep the pack rolling. Moving on to Warcry, but with a twist, we use it as a totem. This means we can slam that Warcry down repeatedly with a short cooldown, so the buffs stay almost permanent. This totem grants 100% critical strike chance for 4 seconds to us and our wolves, 1 second of invulnerability right after use, haste and frenzy buffs that keep the pace frantic, and healing of 300 health each time the totem triggers Warcry for us and our companions. And it pulls enemies to the totem, which means better clear speed and AoE damage, since we don't have to chase dragons. Oh, and we didn't forget the Berserk node for a quick melee damage burst. Then there's Frenzy Totem, which isn't just about frenzy. We boost its area and add 20 flat melee physical damage for our wolves every time it triggers. Plus, we spec into refreshing companion abilities on use, letting us fire off Howl even more frequently. But the real game changer, the Lead the Pack node. It cranks our and our companions' critical strike chance by a staggering 250% while Frenzy Totem is active and they use Howl. And since Frenzy Totem is always active and our wolves constantly use Howl, our damage output skyrockets. We also max out Healing Pulse, giving us 20% chance per second to cast a Teros Blessing on one of our wolves. What's a Teros Blessing? Oh, just a massive buff that boosts our wolves' attack and movement speed by 30% for 4 seconds after use, and grants a whopping 100% increased global physical damage for both us and our wolves. On top of that, it has a 100% chance to spawn a healing totem, which adds a steady health sustain. Plus, it heals ourselves by 30% every time a wolf is healed by the blessing. That's some good synergy right there. We've even gone full mana efficiency here, investing points in mana reduction so we can spam Meteor's Blessing on our wolves when we sometimes need to keep our distance, especially in high tier boss fights. Now let's talk Swipe. This skill does more than just swing a big claw. Every hit has a 45% chance to summon Spirit Wolves from our own wolves, multiplying our damage output. Swipe also grants us 3 stacks of the aspect of the Panther, boosting global damage by 5% per stack, plus the non-stacking attack speed. Each hit shreds enemy physical resistance too, making every blow contribute to both ourselves and the wolves, inflicting more damage. Swipe's final trick, the 14% kill threshold on enemies, which lets us finish off bosses with a clean, satisfying swipe when their end approaches. It also gives us 6 mana per hit, so we can keep cycling through Warcry, Frenzy Totem and Howl without running dry. As for our passives, we dive all in on melee, hit and crit. We get the aspect of the Shark buff for ourselves and our wolves, increasing melee damage up to 75% and attack speed by 10%. With full points in Ocean Maw, those numbers jump even higher. 165% increased melee damage and 22% increased attack speed, with extended duration, so we're buffed nearly constantly. 2 points in the Rending Maw node means we obtain around a minimum of 80 armor shred stacks on bosses, breaking down their defenses without wasting effort on diminishing returns by going much higher than that. We also get the aspect of the Lynx, which grants 100% increased critical strike chance and stun chance on hit when a companion ability triggers. And since we're constantly using Howl, that means this effect is pretty much always active. Finally, we pump up the critical strike multiplier through full investment in the Serrated Claws, adding serious punch to every crit. Now switching focus to our gear. All of the uniques for this build can be obtained through common drops or by using Rune of Ascendance, except the amulet. It can only be obtained by defeating the Woven Firstborn in cemeteries, which should be very straightforward. The most important damage stats for this build is strength, increased minion damage, minion crit chance and minion crit multiplier. I ended up using the dedication of an erased Primalist relic to get the +1 level to Primalist skills, but also to get the damage reduction from slowed enemies. I'm fairly happy with the rolls on this one. A lot of minion damage, good elemental resistance and decent endurance. Some health onto here as well and it would be near perfect. Now onto the gloves, a triple exalt, not very often you come across. Add a tier 5 sealed strength affix and we're really talking. The cast speed is obviously useless, but these gloves in total are a powerhouse. We used the Arthur's Legacy helmet to give us an additional wolf, as well as +2 levels to minion skills. The tier 7 strength affix is not that bad either. The Phantom Grip Ring also gives us +2 levels to minion skills, in addition to a very important base crit chance for our minions. Throw the 2 legendary stats into the mix as well, and we're looking at a very good ring here. Now this amulet is very interesting, the Inheritance of the Erased. As a baseline it gives us a lot of good health, void resistance and health regen. Throw on the Weaver affixes as well and it becomes even better, but the icing on the cake lies in this stat. Every 10 seconds a random minion is chosen, receiving Frenzy and 200% of the stats on this item. This means that every 10 seconds one of our minions is turning into a war machine. For the body armor, I went with a lot of minion crit multiplier. This is one of the best ways to really boost the damage output for our minions, and the increased minion damage implicit stat is also neat to have. All of this culminates into the final piece of our attack puzzle, the spear. Not unique, not legendary, just a basic spear crafted with grit and stubbornness. I poured on as much minion melee damage as possible in addition to the sealed minion physical penetration stat. For the prefixes, I went for a lot of health leech to sustain our health, as well as increased physical damage, since we actually contribute with some damage ourselves with this build through swipe. Ideally, we'd probably want the obsidian axe as the base for our weapon, since it gives us a lot of increased minion physical damage, but with this spear we gain more melee damage ourselves in addition to a lot of physical penetration, so maybe the total damage is kind of equal. Now, if you've enjoyed this video so far, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It's also possible to join the channel as a member with exclusive perks, and this is the ultimate way to support me as a creator. Thank you for all your support, I highly appreciate it. This build relies solely on health, no secondary pool, no ward, just raw health and solid sustain. While it's possible to add a second layer of defense by combining Vessel of Strife with Cleaver Solution to convert some health regen into ward and retaining it, this build sticks to a straightforward primal approach. It goes to show that it's definitely possible to push forward with a basic setup, which gives you more freedom on gear and stats. To survive with health alone, sustaining through health leech is essential. That's why the spear is stacked with melee damage leeched as health, complemented by passive nodes that boost health leech. Another contributing factor to this is our good endurance and endurance threshold. This is an important defensive mechanism, and as long as we don't get one-shotted, we should be able to survive most damage. Speaking of one-shot, we also try to avoid this with our high critical strike avoidance. This way we ensure that we at least don't get critically hit. Don't forget to invest 1 point in the Life in the Wilderness node to transfer your endurance benefits to your companions, making them tougher and harder to defeat. Movement speed is another defense mechanism. The Ateros Path boots with the tier 7 movement speed roll and many of our skills giving us constant haste keep us mobile and hard to pin down, an often underrated form of survivability. And last but not least, it makes the build a ton of fun to play. We also get a substantial amount of healing from Ateros Blessing, which is frequently procced from our Frenzy Totem, healing us directly and also spawning healing totems giving us even more health sustain. Warcry also heals us and our companions with the Breath of Aetera node, in addition to making us invulnerable 1 second after each use. And since we spec into the reduced cooldown, we can use this skill very often to get both the attacking and defensive buffs frequently. Our armor is solid, period, even for a Beastmaster. Our resistances are also decent, but some of them could obviously be fine-tuned a little bit. You could shuffle around some stats on gear and idols or even use some of the resistance blessings. Since all the skills unlock early on, getting this build up and running is pretty smooth. Here's the quick roadmap to your primal Wolfpack dominance. At level 4, specialize in Summon Wolf. At level 8, specialize in Swipe. At level 20, specialize in Warcry, at level 35, Frenzy Totem, and finally at level 50, Ateros Blessing. Check the build planner linked in the video description for detailed skill node progressions. This path ensures your wolves are hitting hard and your survivability keeps pace with the corruption levels. And there you have it. If this guide helped you, or if you just love seeing a pack of wolves melt bosses, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more build guides, epic gameplay, and a bit of chaos thrown in for good measure. Want to support the channel and get some exclusive perks? Consider joining as a member. It truly means the world. And if you want to explore more of my last Epoch build guides, click on the playlist showing on screen right now.